All right. And I'm going to start. So, hey, thanks for coming out. Just a little grooming, so to speak, to give you an idea of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you the exact plan that my partner and I use to grow our storage auction business. This is exactly what we discussed. This is everything that we did. And it's going to seem kind of simple. And the reason it's going to seem simple is there's more action than discussion, planning. Because one of the things I learned when I started my 5 businesses, and I'll give you a little background about that. When I started those businesses, I was in the military. And I don't think I've ever really mentioned that. The first 5 businesses that I started, I was actually in the military. And when I was in the military, I was a hustler. I actually had a part-time job, and you weren't supposed to have part-time jobs when you're in the military. And even and I had businesses. That's just how I rolled. And it taught me a lot because each business gave me tools and skill sets that I didn't have before. Because the lessons learned in failure stick with you for a long time. So we're going to go deep into this, and this is how I'm going to do this webinar. I'm going to go through it, and then anyone that has questions, you can just type it in. I'll check, see if anything's there. Nothing's there. Okay. And we're going to roll. This is probably super critical, and many people don't really think about it. And I'll use myself. When I came on YouTube, how most of you got to know me was from the storage auction business. I defined myself as the storage auction guy with storage auction stories, storage auction content. Now I have to turn that ship to define myself as, hey, how to make a living without a job. It's not a radical departure from the storage auction deal, but in some ways it is, because you have to figure out who you are so you know who to speak to. And I had a philosophy that will carry over to the new thing. But it just makes it much easier for you to plan what you're going to do, because I see so many people that start a business with the primary intent to make money with not a lot of thought about your lifestyle, where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years. None of that stuff is just really thought about, because when you have those types of thoughts, strategy, and planning, it's going to make your plan more savory. It's going to make your recipe better because you're not occupying in just a vacuum. Let's see. Hold on a second. Now, this is super important. Again, to manage your funnel, you must build it. If you're new to resell, or even if you're a veteran, there's a few things that people will do. I will speak to the person who's new. You have to get started. I've seen people paralyzed with planning paralysis. I'm planning, I'm working on it, I'm trying to make this happen. And 10 years will go by. A friend of mine just started her cookie company. This cookie company has been in her mind for the last 8 years. She had a successful first outing. She had an even more successful second outing, and she's doing wholesale. She's just like blown away. Now, the thing is, and I don't bring this up to her, but if she had started this 8 years ago, chances are that this would be her full-time income, and she would not be stuck in the job that she hates if she had taken action. So getting started is huge. You are better to get started with crummy information and learn from that than to sit and plan and plan and plan and plan and plan. Because the lessons that she's getting, which are hard earned and they're going to help her grow her business, she could have got 8 years ago. And she would have had less competition 8 years ago. Cookies, cupcakes, those marketplaces are becoming saturated, but her plan is to do a 100% organic cookie, and it's very delicious. I've sampled them. They're awesome. So she's got a great product, and she has a big network already. So you got to get started and you got to build something. When I say build something, I'm not talking about build a table or, Lowe's or Home Depot's commercial, let's build something. I'm talking about building your business. What do you sell? What are your goals? I mean, if you're just starting, a lot of those are assumptions. You're just assuming because you really don't know. And that's why when you build something, you're going to gain the metrics. And when you gain metrics, and typically 90 days will teach you a lot. And that's old school business. Talking about internet business, 30 days could teach you a lot. And I mean, a ton of stuff can be learned in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You'll get yourself a good set of metrics. And then that gives you more material to plan your business. Because I believe many business plans, even the ones that are wildly successful, are like Moby Dick, great works of fiction. Because you're going like, hey, they planned it and then they did this $1 billion company and it was an IPO. Well, they had planned to do a 10 million, then they did a billion, which lets you know that their plan actually was an assumption, and a good assumption, but they went way past their expectations. Or in the case where you don't meet expectations, you that's the time that you really can start to grow your business. I will go way back with eBay. eBay is much more complicated today than it was when I used to use the platform. My last time actually selling something on eBay through my distribution network, and I'll tell you about that briefly, was 2009. In 2006, I became extremely irritated and sick of eBay, hated them. But data suggested that we needed to keep them. It would be real easy to say, hey, we're out, screw eBay. The reality was, as you'll see later in this webinar, we're making a lot of freaking money from eBay. So I went out and I'll tell you real quick what I did. I went on eBay and used the search function, and I found people that were in Georgia that what I would call eBay purists. These folks with 100% feedback, and I bought stuff from them. And just from their communication, I knew they were my type of people. And I presented about 10 different people offers. Most of them turned me down because my offer was, you list, we'll sign an agreement, you'll take the payments. There's a lot of trust here. And you'll get 20% and I'll get 80% of the net, above, eBay fees, PayPal fees. You get 20% after that, and I get 80%. And most of them was like, no, no, no. And my pitch was, I'll bring you more stuff in a month than you can get on your own in a year. And the first lady to take it, she got herself in a financial bind. So when I showed up at her house, because she worked out of her house, I filled up her 2-car garage with a 17-foot truck full of eBay stuff. It took her 2 months to list all that stuff. She made more money in her first 2 months working with me than she did in the previous 2 years combined. So she was on board because she was pretty much a lister in the shipping. She was my Amazon FBA, and I found 2 more and then another one. So I had 4 people doing different stuff because Amazon, that's why, and we didn't do Amazon FBA at the time because I was a little leery. It was in existence, but I was a little leery. And the thing is, with my issues with eBay, and one of the reasons that we got in trouble was 1 month we're listing jeans, 1 month we are listing auto parts. There was never a specific category. And when we would get a good unit and make a lot of money, all the red flags would fucking go off. And it was just like, you got to be kidding me. We haven't done anything. And I've been here since 1998. But each time that we raised the bar, we ran into problems, which let me know that eBay, a lot of people on eBay were not making a lot of money. Because if there were more people making money, we wouldn't have hit that ceiling so quick and run into so many problems. So that's how I got my eBay thing going on. Now, after you gain your metrics, speed is essential. The faster that you figure this out, because understand, we're in a world where stuff is moving so fast. I started off as Conundrum Publishing, and I made some changes, and now the name of my company is Conundrum Media. And one of the reasons that I kind of didn't really move as fast as I wanted to, because I was going back to defining myself. What am I going to do? Now that I have a good game plan, then I will put all these other things into play. But understand, you have to build your funnel, and just talk about what's in your funnel. And there are some things that you won't hear. Obviously everyone knows about eBay. Everyone knows about Amazon. Craigslist is good. Some people are leery. You can actually use Craigslist to source. That's what I used it for, mostly for a long time, after about 2008, because we were getting stuff from Craigslist and putting it on eBay, or buying stuff off eBay, putting it on Craigslist. It was kind of wild at one point. But building your funnel, it kind of goes back to defining who you are, and what you do will predicate what you're going to sell. Because I have a term that I call the get money hustler. I'm going to sell anything that makes money, which is cool. Short term. Long term, you don't really get to build a credible business. And it can bite you in the ass at some point. This is one of the super important things that my partner and I, we used to really get in a lot of fights about this, because I came from Rent a Crate, and Shanley Mason was grow the company, grow the company, grow the company. So that was my whole mindset: grow, 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 grow. And I mean, I pushed to the point that, it was just, we were spending so much money that I know about year two, and this was after we had made a lot of money, that for 1 month that we both had to live on credit cards, because I had just went out and bought all these units, had stuff rented, warehouse packed, store packed. And my partner was like, came in the office like, there's no money in the business account, really? And because I just went crazy just buying stuff. And I was like, oh. And we started selling stuff. And it's like, and there was auctions coming up. And I was like, look, we got two people who are eating off of this bone. We've got to make this bigger. And that's what we did. So 2 months, we lived on credit cards, and we just churned all the money back in the company. And it got us to a point where we could pull out decent salaries, because she was an accountant and I was in sales. So we were both used to making decent money. Just sitting there making 30, 40, that wasn't going to cut it, because we both had lifestyles that needed more money than that. So we did that. So with your business, and I'll give you another example that's not in the resale. In the gym, for those of you that work out, you'll see people in the gym. If you have a long-term workout program, and you'll see these people for months or often years, and if you notice something, they're not getting any bigger and they're not getting any stronger. And it's not because they can't. Growth and putting more weight on the bar is not part of their workout plan. I know he's like, wait a minute, that should be elementary. And it should be, but it isn't. Because I have been back in the gym for 4 months now, and I am 40 pounds from a 500-pound squat. And I started at 225, and people have been watching me, and someone has even accused me of being on steroids. And the thing is, I've been pushing for growth, and it's been incremental. Sometimes I can't make a 20-pound jump, but I can make those little weights that are like 1.5 pounds. I can put them on the end, and I can make a half-pound jump, or I can make a 1-pound jump. But each month, each week, I'm putting more weight on the bar, and I've gotten bigger and stronger. This is something that anyone can do. And the parallel is, that's your business. Some months you can only grow 5%. Some months you can grow 20%. But at the end of the year, if you're pushing for growth, you're going to see significant growth. And it's going to be an up and down ride. It's going to be a roller coaster, because we will like steady stream, steady growth, or as they like to call hockey stick growth, where it's just like it shoots straight up in the vertical. The reality is, just like when you train naturally in the gym, you're not on gear, another term for steroids, it's going to be up and down. There's days that I just can't go to the gym because I'm so freaking sore. With your business, there's going to be days that you push, and it's just, you're going to grow 1%, or you may just stay where you are that month, and you've really worked your butt off. But the thing is, it's consistency. If you have in your business plan that we are going to grow as fast as we can, and fast as we can means fast as you can. 2% might be great for you. If you do 2% every month for a year, your business is going to grow to, it's going to be double digit growth just at 2%. If you grow 5% every month, it's really going to show up. And at the 2 year mark, and this is why you have to look at your numbers. When you look back at your first year's numbers, then your second year's number, you'll see the growth. And it's kind of like getting fat. The fat doesn't just like, bam, you're fat. It's just day by day, it creeps up on you. And that's kind of how your business will grow. And it's like, look, I was like, damn, this is actually big. And that's what happened when I storage auction business, because first year we did 90,000. The second year we did 200,000. The third year we did 300,000. And we had extremely huge profit margins. So 300,000 in the regular business might spin off 20% profit margin. Storage auction business will spin off 80-90% profit margin. So in many ways, it was completely inverted. But even with that, we needed to make more money. So understand, if you're not really pushing your business, it's not going to just stay where it is. It's going to fall off if you're not pushing it to grow. I'm telling you, even with YouTube, when I am like growing my YouTube channel, if I don't do certain things, it will regress in a heartbeat. It's crazy. So you got to really, really push and understand, when you're having revenue problems, it's not a product problem. It's not a business. It's a sales problem. Because, I put the example out on YouTube a few weeks ago. The pet rock was selling. The pet rock. So if a pet rock can sell, whatever you're selling, it can sell. It's a marketing thing. You just got to get more sales. Now, this is another part of the grand plan. You have to create a really huge goal. Mediocre goals yield mediocre results. When I told my partner we're going to do 7 figures within 2 years, she looked at me like I had 4 heads. And she was right. We didn't do it in 2 years. It took 5. But I consider that a success, because if we had just kind of meandered along, I don't think we ever would have reached 7 figures. It was part of the plan from day one. And that's something you have to put in there, because when you're growing your business, the first thing that many people want to do is live off the business. And it becomes real daunting, because you're like taking cash away from the business. And it's pretty much like taking oxygen from someone who needs a lung transplant. I'm just taking a little oxygen, but they need it. And that's what your business is. If you were in a position where you can reinvest all your profits in your business for 6 months to a year, it would grow so much faster. And that's one of the things that kills people. They sell something, they get some of the capital back to rebuy, and then they got to pay bills with it. So they're really choking their business. And that's what happened in the storage auction business. I saw it. That was one of the reasons that we were able to rise to the top of the heap within 2 years, because so many people were, unless they hit a big unit and then they start putting certain things into play, but most of them didn't. So you have to have a huge goal. And understand, don't be crushed or heartbroken because your goal isn't loving you back. And that's one of the things that, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to develop some toughness, because you will lose. You will lose some battles. You will definitely lose some battles. There will be long days. There'll be long weeks. And there'll be long months. And the thing's really funky, that could be a few long years. There's an article in this month's Inc. You can check it out online, Inc.com, Inc. magazine, and it talks about the toll of entrepreneurship and how people are depressed and how many people have come to the brink. And the brink is, you run this company, you don't have any money, and no money's coming in. That's the brink. Like I said, we had that period for 2 months where I overspent, but we had some resources. And there'll be webinars about that too coming up, because I see a lot of people don't understand the credit game. This, I would think, was part of number 3 in level of importance, because going back on my sales background, I knew that if we could get return customers, that would give us a base of recurring revenue. So we put that in the plan, and I had to go out to the auctions and look at stuff that What are people going to frequently buy? And I was surprised. It's not what you think. People would come and buy sheets, towels, washcloths, dishes, kids' clothing. There were certain things that people just consistently bought over and over and over. And incidentally, these were the same items that we got in the storage units all of the time. That is the reason that we took 4,000 square feet in the warehouse and everything. That was the dollar section. It was one of the best ideas I freaking ever had because we had a lot of immigrants that would come in and they would come in. One guy would come in with trash bags because he knew that we ran out. He came in late. He said, I got my own trash bags. And he would, we sell it by the piece, $1 a piece. If you got like 100 pieces, I'll do $50 because essentially they were taking our trash out because we're going to have to throw this stuff away or donate it because it was stacking up so quick. And that's another thing about with your business. When you start building stuff and you're running into problems, because, if you've ever been in the storage auction business, how are you going to get rid of that low margin stuff? It's an issue. And the ideal of putting that stuff there was my partner didn't think it was going to work because she was just like, I don't see it. But it was the sheer volume. The first weekend that it really worked. And when we set up the ultimate garage sale, it didn't work immediately. There was a few weekends no one showed up. Like first weekend we made like $200. Second weekend like $500. Third weekend I think it was like $600. And it was like the fourth weekend, bam, $3,200. And the vast majority of that came from the dollar section because when you're selling expensive stuff, furniture, washer and dryers, that stuff's expensive. You're not going to always move that all the time unless you have a specific marketing plan for that type of stuff, which I later put in. But those dollar items got us our return customers, and they would come with friends and family. And then we had a sheet, very cavemanish, a notebook, and write your name and email address. And that's how we build our database. And then I would, at the end of the day, put them on the Excel spreadsheet. And I wasn't even using like an email program. I mean, this is like way back when you just could get away with so many things. And I would just go in my email box, email everybody these email blasts. And I sold a lot of big pieces that way because it's like, hey, I just bought a unit. This is what's going on. Took pictures, sent it out. And sometimes a lot of stuff didn't even make it to the weekend. So understand. Now I know you're going, hey, Glendon, I don't sell stuff that can get repeat customers. And I'm going to say, hey, you go out and find something that you can, because this is the thing in 2013. You can run your business any way that you want to. And a lot of people don't feel that they have permission to do that because I had a guy and they used to sell new furniture. And the guy said, you can't sell new furniture and used furniture in the same place. I will admit it was challenging, but I figured it out. And it's going to be crazy. I moved the new stuff all the way over to the other side of the warehouse. And there was this big aisle between the new stuff and the used stuff. And it started selling. I know it sounds crazy, but when it was mixed in, yeah, people were like, well, you've got that bedroom set for $300 and I want this new one for $300. And that new one cost me more than $300 wholesale. So no, it wasn't going to happen. And I was having that. So I just pushed it all over. And it created a line of delineation. And you can sell new and used stuff together. It's just, it has to be segregated. It just has to be for some reason, but people will buy it. Now, when you have your resale channels, you're going to have one horse that's going to run fast. And this is a cautionary tale. Our horse that was running real fast was eBay. I loved eBay. You couldn't tell me nothing about eBay. eBay was my best friend. So I thought, until we started running into growth issues because we were selling so much stuff. At one point, eBay was accounting for 70% of our revenue, which I knew was dangerous, but I didn't think, we weren't doing anything wrong. I didn't think anything was going to happen. We were in love. eBay would hold my hand. They would send me stuff. I mean, I was an eBayer when you got sent your power seller certificate. They sent it to you in the mail and spent like $3 on postage. This was before you had to download the PDF. They sent it to you and be signed. And you just felt special. After the first bitch slap, and we saw that Whoa, if we didn't have other sales channels, and I will say I was fortunate that I always did Craigslist because I love Craigslist, and we had the store. So we had two other sales channels, but we really felt that when eBay did you ever wake up and all your listings are gone and PayPal saying nan nana boo boo. That was, whoo, it was ugly. And it woke us up. And we was like, we can't really be this top heavy with eBay. And when I say that on YouTube, I'm not saying it to be malicious. I'm saying it from experience. I don't want what happened to me to happen to you. I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I mean, seriously, it was just that bad because I couldn't go to auctions because all the money was locked up in PayPal. And then the money that was coming in, we needed that to pay bills and to pay people. It was ugly. And I look at it and I was like, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I just went with it because I never, ever, ever thought eBay would fuck us. Never thought, because we didn't do anything wrong. And that's why I caution you when I say, look, don't get caught up in, I've been on eBay 10 years. They never did anything to me. Don't believe that, because the minute you're being successful or there is a policy shift, as recently in evidence by this 15,000, there are people like, they're all probably bad sellers. I can tell you, as someone who didn't do anything other than try to sell as much stuff as possible, it can happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but it can happen. So with your fast horse, you've got to really look at that and automate it, because you're going to have eBay, Amazon, your site, other third-party platforms. You might be selling at the flea market. You might have booths. You are going to want to, before I get ahead of myself, you want to set your fast horse on autopilot. We use Ink Frog. And for those of you that didn't know, if you're shipping frequently, the post office will come to your house and pick up your packages. We did the post office, and then when our volume got to a certain level, we had an account with FedEx and an account with UPS, and they will also come by and pick stuff up. And I will tell you about that. When you're talking to the salesperson, there are certain breakdowns, or they used to be. It's probably different now. But if you're sending out, I know this may sound like a lot, but for us, it wasn't in the beginning. Sending out 500 packages a month, that's big business for them, and they would give you a rate. And I was able to make money on shipping because they were giving us certain lots, like a certain package was like $235 to ship. Whereas if I went down to their store, stood in line at the counter, same package was $8 to $10. That's the kind of break we were getting for volume. And then it went up, and we had, if anytime something went funky, I had someone to call. So if you have huge volume, UPS, FedEx, talk to somebody and play them against each other, because you might be surprised that. And don't be the good guy. It's like, hey, we're getting this break, so we're going to give our. Don't do it, because my partner, because that's what I wanted to do. It's like, yeah, we can charge, we can charge less for shipping. And she just almost looked at me, and her eyes slapped me across the head. She's like, don't you dare. We are going to keep the shipping where it is, and this is going to become more profit for us. And pretty much what we're making on shipping was about 8% of our profit. The shipping can be huge. Some people back in the day actually were making all of their money on shipping, and then eBay changed the rules because, like I said, it was the Wild Wild West. You could charge whatever you wanted for shipping. I mean, it was great. It was awesome. But you want to automate as much of your fast horse as possible, because it's already moving pretty fast. And the thing is, the tendency is like, since it's doing so well, you want to concentrate on it because you get the immediate gratification and you get the results. So automate it. We had Ink Frog, and then the ultimate where I just took stuff to people, dropped it off. We gave them an inventory sheet. They signed the inventory sheet, and I left. I mean, that was like the best experience I had with eBay. And they were kind of upset when we shut down stuff because I know, one, we were more than 70% of their income. Going back to what I said, I know for one lady, we were it. And, when the spigot got turned off, things got kind of ugly for her, but it couldn't be helped. I mean, it just couldn't be. So when you've got your fast horse really clicking, you want to devote as much time as possible to making you want to bring those slow horses up to speed, because the fast horse is doing this thing. So take the time that you normally would invest in the fast horse, because you're trying to make it faster, and it's already running fast, and bring up those weak areas, because eBay in their big bitch slap forced us to do that. Now, I know a lot of people are like, hey, where's the products? What should we buy? I'm going to really discuss that. I think going on YouTube and someone saying, hey, get this product, get that product, is great for the get money hustler. It's awesome. With YouTube, product price compression is more rapid than ever. Understand, at some point, the price was going to come down anyway, just like 9/11 accelerated the stock market meltdown. It was going to happen, but it happened faster because of 9/11. That's the same thing. It's stuff was going to happen. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, I'll go there and I'll go to Goodwill and I'll scan this and I'll put it up. There are some people who are literally getting all of their product ideas from YouTube. And they're just sitting there and they're like, oh man, where's the video? What should I buy? And the thing is, when you invest in your own backyard or invest in your own garden, I had products that I'll tell you one, and it's really funny. I used to sell light fixtures. I know it doesn't sound real sexy, but for some reason, there was these little electrical light fixtures. I got them out of a unit and they sold great. I don't know why. Contractors were buying them. So when we ran out, I found a wholesale source and I started selling them. The profit margin wasn't as great, but the volume made up for it. They just kept selling. I found out that Lee Crochet is a enamel pot. People paid crazy money for pots and pans that were enameled to cookware, and it cooked your food more evenly. People loved this stuff. They were passionate about it. Every time that I saw that stuff on Craigslist, I go buy it. If I saw, I would buy it because I knew I could sell it. So when you do your own work, you find jewels and special things that will make you money. And on YouTube, there were people that were like, hey, talking about this stuff is really not going to impact my business. 3 months later, 90 days, remember what I said about 90 days getting good numbers? They were like, maybe this does impact my business. I was like, okay, I'm just stupid. I've just been through all this stuff before. But you want to invest in you. And you're a strange duck or a unique duck. There's something that you know how to do. There's something that you're good at. Like you might be a carpenter and you can see value in tools and things that other people can't because you have expertise. Use what you know to make dough. A lot of people are like, hey, I want to do what this other guy's doing, while they're completely ignoring their own special talents, specialized knowledge, and skill sets. When I went on the storage auction the storage auction trail, I was confused in the beginning because I saw people, you think the storage auction prices were blowing your mind. I saw people pay $500 for what I thought was junk because I was unlearned. I didn't know what I was looking at. And then I would see them pass up rooms full of office furniture. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's thousands of dollars. But I had specialized knowledge and they didn't. So you have a unique competitive advantage if you develop it. Because that's why this isn't, this whole, what I call creating your resale funnel is about figuring out what you like, what kind of life you want to lead, what kind of products you want to sell. Because once you do that research, you can find stuff that other people are missing. I'm a pen freak. Whatever, I love fountain pens. Calligraphy always have been like that. I took commercial art for 4 years when I was in high school. So I saw a unit and I saw a Parker fountain pen just sitting on the box. And I knew exactly what it was. It was from the 1930s and it looked to be in great condition. And I was like, that fountain pen's $500. I sat back, and this is a lesson if you're going to storage auctions. You see something like that, do not do fire out. I saw people do that stuff, and all that's doing is just holding up raw meat to hungry dogs. They're going, oh, because people will, like, The Walking Dead, how they hear sound and they all start coming. That's what people would do. And I'm just like, oh, so I saw it. And when I was at the door was up and I see something like that, my heart started beating real fast. So I learned to back up in the crowd and just kind of go off to the cut and let someone else bid or put out a low bid. Actually act like I wasn't, I need to turn that screensaver off. Sorry about that. I wasn't that interested because if someone knew that I was super interested, they would bid off of that. So I got that unit for $5 because and because it's specialized knowledge. And just what I'm saying. You might know clothing, you might know shoes, there's so many categories out there. So stop looking at what other people are doing and develop you. I was dating a girl who has a son. He got into metalworking. She took him to some metal shop up in Michigan, some blacksmithing. This kid, who I think is 17 now, he started creating stuff from this knowledge and selling it. He's putting himself through school by his blacksmithing business. No, it's not making $100,000 a year, but I think it's making about 30. He's not 20. He's going to pay for his college with his own back. I mean, seriously, he makes these designs. People like it. So understand, just don't go, oh, that's the hot thing. Look for the thing that other people are missing. For years, I got clothing off people and put it on eBay. I got clothing off other storage auction buyers for free because they were going to throw it away because it was like they didn't understand that those True Religion jeans were $500 and 80 to $120 used on eBay. There were so many things. They didn't understand that Ralph Lauren Purple Label sold radically different price points than just regular Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren has several different lines, and that Purple Label and those other things. Because I bought a unit of an artist and he had 4 purple label leather jackets. The cheapest one sold for $350. One was actually a limited edition. People were looking for it, and sometimes there's like cult-like followings to items, but you don't know that unless you get into it. And that's one of the reasons that when I bought units, I learned so much stuff because I had to do all this research. Because I'm like, I just learned after the first few months, don't throw shit away. You Salad Master, these little handles that go in the Salad Master pot. I was gonna throw them away, and I just look them up. Well, on eBay, those suckers going for $50. Pot handles, little pieces of plastic with Salad Master on the side. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. So learn to become a data junkie and to research and to look into stuff. Because if you're just, I'm going to let someone else do the heavy lifting, you're gonna miss some stuff. And like I said, there's something that you're good at. I don't care what it is. Don't dismiss it. Do not dismiss it because you never know where it will lead you. Now, this is another thing. When you're building your resale funnel, you have got to watch your percentages. Now, the gross percentage really didn't change. Like 67% of our revenue or more than that came from online sources. But the breakdown shifted when we smartened up because the last 3 years it was more even. So we weren't just going to be taken out like when eBay went down because it was roughly 30-some% across all channels. And I worked hard to maintain that. So if eBay sales went up, going back to what I put in another slide, I worked hard to raise those other slow horses up. The percentages, these percentages are more even, but the money that came in was significantly higher because, like I said earlier, 50% or more of your revenue is coming from a source that you don't completely own and control, you're in trouble. Just don't know it yet. At some point, something's going to happen. It's the same if you're in a service company and you have this one big customer. I have a friend in that situation right now, and that one big customer knows that they're the one big customer, and they act like a spoiled little princess. And I keep telling them, go out and get some more business. Go out and get some more business. But he's become comfortable, and he lives in fear. So just understand when you're building your business, start thinking of percentages, start thinking about the long term, and start thinking about lifestyle because I'll use me. I've got some life events that are coming up that are just makes no sense for me to be out in the resale world anymore. And I had to make that decision this year because I was going to do resaleology and I'm in a position with a family member where I'm going to have to be around a lot. So I'm just like, okay, so we need to shore up the online stuff. But once again, when you have a business and you've got some stuff built, you can make these choices because What I believe is coming, and I'm going to talk about what many people believe is my hate of college. And I don't hate college, I love knowledge, but I think to a degree, and this is not all schools, but the college experience isn't what it needs to be to make people viable, employable people. And the day of, hey, you went to a college and just because you have a degree, you're going to get X amount of job, that's going the way of the dodo bird. You just like, okay, you have a degree. Do you have an internship? Do you have any experience? Because those are now the new, requirements. And there's still a few people, if you come from the right college, you're in or tracked into certain fields, but that's going to go away because technology. No company is going to pay you 150, 200,000, 300,000 when they can go out and buy some software that's going to do the same exact job and not have workers comp, not have health insurance, not have payroll taxes, and they could do that and they could buy that software for $30,000. They're not going to pay that, and that's what we're coming to. We're coming to the point where many fields are going to be extremely disrupted. So you might be fat, happy, and cozy right now. In 5 years, it's going to change because technology is pushing so hard. So understand, if you are not in control of your destiny, you're in trouble. I know it sounds harsh. I know it sounds even a little crazy, but from what I have seen, and just me, I don't have a degree. I dropped out of school junior year, never went back. And if I had a degree, and this is something else that happens because of having this argument, and I've got this great rebuttal that's coming up. Schools train you to work inside a system, but they don't train you to create a system. When you can create a system, you become the guy on the side of the table who's conducting the interview versus the guy on the side of the table who's asking for the job. I, I'm gonna just tell you, it's much nicer being on the side of the table. It's like, well, hey, we'll call you. It's much nicer to be on that side of the table. I've employed people with MBAs. I put up an ad a few years ago for a $10 an hour data entry customer service type person. I took the ad down after 6 hours. I got 300 responses in 6 hours. Most of the people, half the people had degrees. Then out of that group, about 20% had graduate degrees for a $10 an hour position. So understand, I look at it from the point that you paid all this money for this education and it's not working. Why? Because the system has changed tremendously. So that is that on that. That is my end of the webinar rant. I'm going to open up the floor to questions. So, who has a question? I see a bunch of people here. And if you never use GoToWebinar, there's a little question area. You can just type it in. Let's see. Make sure that I set this up. Okay. No questions? Or is anyone having issues? Okay, there seems to be a problem with the question section. Hold on, let me try to pop it out and see if that helps. Alrighty. It will not allow me to send out any questions. All right, this is what I'm going to do. Everyone has that signed up for the webinar. Okay, now it's working. Cool. Okay, it's working. It's working. Let's see. This one's from Steven. Would you bid early or wait to the last second on your first day with big money at an auction? I would do this. If you know that you're loaded, I would drag every auction out. I would be this guy. You see a room you want. Let other people bid, but stay in front of the auctioneer so he can see you. And when he's going once, you throw in your bid, until you learn his cadence, because some auctioneers will shut it down quick, some will drag it out. So when he goes going once, going twice, you put your bid in there, and you be that guy that's pissing everyone off because you're dragging it out. So it's like you're the guy that's just dragging it out versus the guy with money, so you kind of throw him off. I would definitely bid last and drag it out. All right, Brian put in a test. Thanks, I appreciate that. It seems to start the system. Any more questions? I understand this thing might be a little funky, so I won't just shut it off. I will wait a few seconds to see if anything else comes through. And I will. Here we go. Can everyone send a question? I will send the all. Make sure everybody got that. Now, I mean, if you want to ask anything, you can, since I'm here. I have no problem with that. And I do understand, I see some people I've never seen before, so maybe they're not familiar with the system. So I'm going to wait another minute. If there are no questions, okay. Okay, cool. If there's no questions, I'm going to shut it down in a minute. So, like I said, I will wait one more minute. Okay. I'm going to say this before I shut off. Let's see. Hold on. Here's one from Brian. I want to learn as much as I can about furniture. Where's a good starting point? I know next to nothing. Furniture. All right, I'm going to tell you something about furniture. The whole furniture thing has changed tremendously. There was a point that people used to care about quality, that they would pay 4,000 for a sofa. There are still people that will do that, but furniture has hit a commodity type status since so much of it comes from overseas. So much furniture is imported and it's made cheaper. Like, my bedroom set, which I bought wholesale, I got it for $1,500. If you had to buy it in a store, it would be 4 to 5,000. So just to show you what kind of markups on it, and it was imported, but it was it's teak. The whole deal with furniture is you need to buy what people want. Like, give an example. So, like, say there's a room and there's an antique chair, and people are like, yeah, that's worth a lot of money. If you've got the money to spare, go for it. But you will do better buying a room full of rooms to go furniture, which is cheap as shit, because it's going to sell faster. I would say, just a quick pointer, stay away from red sofas are hard to sell. Purple sofas are hard to sell. What sells? Traditional furniture sells well. Contemporary furniture. If it's just nice and clean and not crazy looking, the craziest stuff will sell to a younger demographic. But furniture, get it as cheap as you can. That would be my primary advice to you. Get as cheap as you can. Understand if it has a scratch or marks on it, that will cut the price by 25%. And what else would I tell you about furniture? Because, when I say you know next to none, I'm thinking you might be thinking about antiques. Antique furniture can take you a decade to learn. So depending on where you're getting your stuff, learn as you go. That's going to be the quickest way, and you can still make money. Because if you're thinking about sitting around and reading about 20 furniture books, I'm going to say don't do it, because you may gain all this knowledge that you may never use because you'll never see that furniture, if that makes any sense. I have a seller for the hood. Do I pay him a commission or sell to him and let him mark it up for his profit? Uh, Clarify that on the hood. What kind of hood is that? Definitely, yeah. Better off to stick in things you know, because the learning curve can be so steep on something new. And I'm not going to say don't learn new stuff, but while you're learning new stuff, build a base on things you already know, because it's just going to be much faster. Like, I can speak all freaking day about storage auctions because I did it for damn near 10 years. I mean, it's weird. So, and like I said, I mean, I'll give you another thing that a lot of people don't talk about: buying and reselling guns. And I don't do this on YouTube because people are like losing their mind over guns. But going to flea markets or garage sales and getting guns, and if you've got an inventory of 20 guns, you could probably consistently sell. If you're buying good guns, you're buying name brand stuff and you're getting it at a good price, you can resell these all day long. I mean, and make it easy 1,500, 2,000 a month. Let's see. I would, with the hood guy, I would sell it to him and let him mark it up and just stay out of that. Sounds kind of crazy. You cannot sell guns on Craigslist. You can sell guns on gunbroker.com. Just go there, gunbroker.com, and they'll walk you through it. Because what you're going to have to do is take your gun to a licensed gun dealer, and he'll have to ship it to another licensed gun dealer, and your customer picks it up. You can, this, all right, this is shady, gray area stuff. You can sell guns on Craigslist because gun people know the language. You can say that I have reloading equipment for 22s, I have reloading equipment for 38s. I don't know if they banned that yet, but that's how I let people know that I had guns. I never said exactly gun. I say, oh, I have a reloader for a Beretta, blah, blah, blah. And the gun guy was like, oh, he's got a Beretta that he's selling. But I didn't say I was selling a Beretta. But I don't know if Craigslist will shut that down. I've gotten away with that a few times. Um, Sell at the flea market, the gun show. First of all, check your local state laws on the sale of guns. In Georgia, you can sell long guns at a garage sale. Most people will not because they don't know the law. And at the flea market, you can put them on the table and sell them all day long. But your state, I don't know. And Steven said guns, Facebook groups for guns, huge. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways to sell stuff. I was going to open up a gun store at one point, but I changed my mind. I wish I had not. I wish I had opened it. Oh God, I wish I had opened it. Because that's one thing that you can buy and resell, and it just goes on and on and on. So, any more questions? Because I'm going to try to keep these things short as possible. And like I said, if you're in the Hustler Mindset Project, this will be in there tomorrow sometime. So, you can listen to it again. And for those who just signed up at the dollar, if you want the recorded version, probably sell it for like $10 or something like that because it's only an hour. And you will get an email once it's done and once I get everything set up. Yeah, I'll sell it to those who signed up for a dollar for 10. And those who didn't show up, I'll probably do that at 20. Okay, it looks like that's the end of the questions. Just letting you know, there will be a lot more webinars like this month. So the best deal is the Hustler Mindset Project, because when I especially get with corporations, business credit, those are going to be a lot. Because I've learned over the years the best way to do this is keep it under an hour, because when you get into 2 hours, 3 hours, people start drifting off. 45 minutes to an hour is like perfect. All right. I just want to say thanks for everybody that came out, signed up, and I will see you on the good side.